Consensus is the collective belief of the crowd, the shared story that defines what's considered real, what's allowed, and what isn't. It's not based on what's truly possible, only on what the majority accepts as possible, not what the universe is capable of, but what people are willing to see without flinching, mocking, or resisting. It's the unspoken contract. Stay within the lines, and you're safe. Go outside them, and you're a problem. That's why some ideas get absorbed into society, without a second thought, even if they're hollow or lazy, while others, even brilliant ones, get spit out on sight. And the more people believe something, the more real it starts to feel. That shared belief becomes a kind of gravity. It keeps everything pulled toward the center, toward what's familiar. The more minds accept a certain way of thinking, the harder it becomes to think in any other way socially and mentally. Even if the box isn't real, most people won't dare look past it. Most people won't ever truly look at things and reason things without their filter. They can only see through the filter and never look at the filter itself. Consensus is powerful because it's everywhere. It's in your teachers, your parents, your friends, your algorithms. It's what makes people laugh at you before they even understand what you're saying. It shapes the kinds of risks you don't even notice you're avoiding. And if you try to step outside that shared reality, the pushback comes from people. You'll be laughed at, mocked, cut off. They'll call you delusional, arrogant, dangerous. And over time, it doesn't just limit what you're allowed to do. It limits what you're able to think. It draws a line around your imagination. It makes whole paths invisible. Whole possibilities feel like madness. In a way you were trained to not see them, it can manifest in different ways. I sometimes see it as a voice that gets planted inside your head from birth. It starts getting bigger and makes itself more present exactly when you start to think ridiculously. The moment you imagine something beyond what's normal, you start to wonder if maybe you could do something insane, something divine, something so seemingly impossible in whatever thing. And suddenly, there it is. That's cringe. You're being delusional. You, really. Be realistic, bro. They think it's their inner critic or being mature. It's a trained reflex built by other people's fears, shame, and supposed limitations. And here's the dangerous part. If you trust it, if you take that voice seriously, it will kill you. It attacks you at the level of identity. It makes you feel like you are ridiculous, not just your idea. It challenges your goals, and it challenges your right to even have them. You can anchor it in something that isn't fragile, and it's not just about your goals or ambitions. Consensus gets you in real time. In the way you think, the way you act, the way you hold yourself in this exact moment. It decides what you believe you're capable of doing with your own mind. It sets an invisible limit on how far you'll let your thoughts go before you call it too much, on how deep you'll let yourself think before you decide you're overthinking. It tells you what kind of focus, creativity, or psychological strength and finesse is for you, and what isn't. Why do you even cringe at your own thoughts? Why does your own imagination embarrass you? Why does thinking something divine, powerful, or wildly ambitious make you recoil from yourself? That's how deep consensus thinking runs. It rewires your inner reactions to yourself. So now, even when no one's around, no judgment, no audience, you still mock your own potential like you're trying to preempt their rejection. You've become your own heckler. It shrinks your horizon. You stop looking for more because you've been taught there isn't more. And when you believe that, you don't try. And when you don't try, you never find out how much you could have done. How would you ever be able to do the impossible when you strongly believe you can't? And over time, you lose the ability to even imagine something bigger because your mental possible has been downgraded. Here's one example. People love to say that confidence or self-esteem cannot come from nowhere. Comes from the external, from achievements, from looks, from status, from some list of approved traits that the herd has decided are worthy. And sure, if you feel like an imposter, it's harder to summon it. If you've been marinating in self-doubt for years, flipping the switch isn't instant. But that's not the same as saying you can't will yourself into having it. That's just another belief you've been handed by consensus, that you're not allowed to feel certain about yourself until other people say so, or unless you meet specific standards. They treat it like it has a schedule, like it's something you're given when you deserve it. I'll be confident when I get that job. I'll be confident when I'm in shape. I'll be confident when I have proof I can do it. It is dependency. You're basically outsourcing your entire internal state to circumstances you don't fully control. You're letting the weather decide how you feel. Consensus sells the idea that confidence is a reward. You earn it after you've crossed some finish line that the collective deems acceptable, or you deem acceptable from that consensus voice. But here's the thing, the finish line is a moving target. Once you hit one, they move it again. So you end up living in a permanent state of not yet. Not confident enough to start. Not accomplished enough to feel good. Always waiting for permission that never comes. But you can reframe it. You can anchor it in something that isn't fragile. Not your height, not your looks, not even your current level of competence, although those are obviously more on the surface levels of the iceberg and should be used more as boosters and not the core, because those can shift, fade, or be doubted. Instead, you can anchor it in your trajectory, in the fact that you have potential. If you truly believe you have potential, then your confidence isn't fake. It's just calibrated to the truth that you're on your way. You're acting like someone who knows where they're going, even if you're not there yet. Or you could base it on something else, that it is not so easily fragile. Most people fall apart. They think that if their mind doesn't naturally agree with this at first, it must be a lie. But your mind will always resist what it hasn't been trained to do. You have to work with your subconscious for this. You have to mold your subconscious to your will. One cannot feel confident if they subscribe to the idea that there's a specific when or where it's applicable, whether because other people said so, or because their own mind's been conditioned to delay it. That's you involuntarily putting chains on yourself. And people are so weak about this. They let the external dictate their internal state. And when you let the external dictate your internal, you never own it. You just rent it. And what you rent can be taken away. And here's where it gets interesting. You can even create an identity for it. A version of yourself that you treat as real, not imaginary. A higher self that embodies your potential. Your demon, God form, or God self. Whatever you want to name it. Be creative about it. Know what works for you and possibly why. Find what works for your psyche. You walk like him, think like him, speak like him. Not next year, not after you earn it now. The point is, there are endless ways to get there. Psychologically, magically, whatever fits your paradigm. If it takes molding your subconscious to your will, do it. If it takes building a personal myth, story, narrative, do it. If it takes visualizing yourself as some untouchable, larger-than-life archetype, do it. Be as delusional as you want, if that's what it takes. Don't you dare allow yourself to feel cringe about it, because if you do, I will personally teleport to wherever you are and slap you so hard you will still be able to feel the pain 10 years in the future. It's going to depend on the individual. Some people will do magic. Some will burn old identities and step into new ones. Some will just pick a new story about themselves and wear it until it stops feeling like a costume. But one thing's for sure, you can't be so clueless on your psychology, with almost no knowledge about why you work the way you do, that you can't figure out at least a decent solution to this. We live in an age where you can look up how to cook an ostrich egg in 5 minutes. But somehow people still can't figure out why they freeze up in a conversation, or why they repeatedly do certain actions and think certain ways. Normal isn't your starting point. It's not where you begin or who you really are beneath the surface. It's the boundary others set around what they consider acceptable. Thinking normal is your baseline tricks you into believing that's all you can be. If you accept normal as your foundation, you'll never build anything beyond it. You'll keep circling inside a small, safe box. Your true potential lies beyond normal. Normal is the limit the crowd places on you. Break that limit, and you step into a space where anything becomes possible. The moment you break free from normal, you change how you perceive it. You realize the cage was never real, just thoughts, fears, and stories you no longer have to believe. You must grow and trust yourself in ways you never did, not in approval or permission, but in the simple, fierce act of being unapologetically you. No one else can give it to you. No one else can take it away. You are the breaker of your limits. You are the maker of your new realities, and that is where your story begins.